Hey everybody, Daryl Davey here in the game room for Oaken Hollow Games. And today, just do another check-in video, see how everyone's doing. Some updates of what I have been doing since the last time I came on. I think the last time I was bothering you guys was for the ESCO Winterfest. That went well. Welcome everybody who joined because of that. Glad to have you here in the Oaken Hollow. So far, you've been seeing a lot of stuff this last week on just different graphic designs. And again, that's kind of why I have the community with you guys here that I do, is because I take in all that stuff. We take in all that stuff. Hey, whoever's on. Usually it pops up who says who's viewing, but Ben, hey, I'm going to make it out to Collector's Connection one of these days. I've had to pass up my last two opportunities, but we're going to go to Collector's Connection soon. My brother-in-law was just looking at some Pokemon cards, and I want to come there and show off some All Hallows Eve and Skirmish and play some games there too. So looking forward to hanging out and enjoying your top 50 as well. Ben and Daniel reviews. He's popped down to the chat. You guys should give them a check out, look at their page. They do all sorts of different fun reviews and different board games and stuff going on, different updates in the gaming community around the area. So really good group to follow for kind of the on-the-know stuff for what's going on. Any rate, hey Phil, welcome in. Morning. To you as well. It's trying to wake up. Got another girl's birthday party today. Been busy. But anyway, as I was saying, with everything that's been going on, that's why we have the community that we do is see you, Ben. Have a good day at work. Is so that we can get designs and stuff that you guys like and you find appealing and things that you want to play. If something doesn't seem to hit, we like to change it up. And it's always fun for me to see where I'll throw a few designs out and what sticks and what doesn't. So for those of you who may not have looked into it yet or maybe just like scrolled past, we had a questionnaire for the Skirmish board. I put out some different designs, and I had kind of a base design where it was just single lines, to one where it had just a few extras in the corners to give it a little bit more oomph, and then a third one which I really enjoyed. It almost had like an Aztec-y or like Nordic feel to like the carving and cutouts. A lot of people said it was too busy. It looks nice, but probably too busy for a board game, and I agree. The outside line was part of a game function that some of the pieces can't be placed on the outside edge, but it's absolutely not necessary, and the comments that I got with too busy or too much were great. That's exactly what we're looking for. Because I'd hate to put something out there and somebody be visually confused at the first glance of a board game, which with Skirmish is supposed to be a less confusing game, honestly. So having something that is less visually confusing as well as nice. For those who've been kind of following on with some of the Skirmish action, you'll notice that I have my 4 main starting areas and then 4 in the cardinal directions as well, and those will be for the third player if they're playing a 3-player game for their starting area. I considered doing like a lighter box around there, but that was too busy as well. It was just, even in a lighter color, wasn't going to probably work. And so I passed up on that, but I think, I made a quick comment, but I think that the 2-line is the winner for that. And that leads me into the next section here is, I'm at that kind of, you need to pay money to make money sort of section of the game design for Skirmish, where the playtest nights, a lot of involves what are we going to use for the board or the mat for Skirmish. And I just, within the last 10 minutes here, have uploaded and purchased some demo, one of a, like, neoprene? The game mats that you get for playing Magic, or the one that I showed with the Oaken Hollow logo on there. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to talk about that too here in a minute. Awesome mat. I love how it turned out. But possibly having Skirmish on a board with that neoprene mat, what I like about that is it the board itself can fold up. I'm hoping to keep them in the same boxes as I have my All Hallows Eve game, just so that way I can buy those boxes in bulk. Even more so, that helps drop the cost, so consumers like you don't have to pay as much, because I mean, it all costs money to make, and that's the unfortunate side of it. So if I can get everything in the same size boxes for a majority of the stuff that we produce, that means that I can just bulk buy, and that's awesome. And then also when it comes to printing, I know I can get the right size prints for my stickers and stuff, which is what we'll talk about here in a moment as well. So, but to get a board that fits into that has proven difficult. It almost seems tailor-made. The practice boards we had been using for Skirmish are 1x1. And they're a 13 by 13 grid, means each box on there is just shy of an inch total. Which is a long way of saying I would need something big enough to hold either a 12 by 12 box or a mat or even a fold over. And they will do like 13 by 14 on game mats. There's like 12 by 14, I think, is like the dimension of like it's more of a rectangle. Just show it off. Yeah, I'll grab. So this, there's no way that there was a good print size that wasn't custom. In these print sites, Inked Gaming is what I got for the mat. Yeah, I'll show it off. It's kind of a mess because I'm doing it, but I got my camera and stuff up here, but really nice 3x3 mat for this. But this was it's a wargaming mat, which means it's a standard 3x3. So getting something in this size was easy and cheaper because it's a size that they already make in print through Inked Gaming. I'm going to try to bring you back slowly so you're not getting car sick while I do it. New prints are so nice but pricey. You're right, Ben. They are. In bulk, though, I have found a place called, let me check my little cue card here, Your Playmat, which might sell them for a bit cheaper. So we had done a few things, hey Em, love ya, where we thought about having the rectangle board and then the Skirmish with some of the rules down the sides, just some reminder rules, which would be fine. I think that would have been a nice middle ground, if you will. But then if you have 4 players, somebody's reaching a bit farther, I want you to be able to throw the mat out and play the game without knocking things over and stuff. And it could possibly come back to that. But it comes back around to the websites for the size I need were always ironically either like an inch too big or an inch too small for just about anything in their normal sizing that they had for these games. So I have to do it custom, which then is a little bit more money. And again, I think that's maybe a bit intentional on their end for folks like me. But again, with anything else, you buy it in bulk. I think even, Ben, to your point, the neoprene mats being expensive, I think it brings the price point down to where it's feasible. I want to see... so I got 2. I just got one on the neoprene mat, a 13 by 13 neoprene mat with the 2-line design that you guys had picked. And then I found a quad fold by Board Game Maker that is... I did a 14 by 14 on that. So when it's folded quad, that's 7 inches. These boxes run... I think the interior is like 9 by 9, 10 by 10. But just to make sure I had room, I wanted to make sure it was at least 8.5 inches or smaller. So I did 13 by 13 board. So if I had a 13 by 13 each square, it should theoretically be an inch. And just to give a little wiggle room for either printing or pieces and whatnot, I went 14 by 14. That means it folds up into a 7 by 7 square, which should fit comfortably in there. I just got the base this time, just to see how it folds, how it looks, how it plays. Because if I get it and it's chintzy and it's crappy, I'm not going to go with it. And the neoprene mats too, where if I get them and they don't sit well if I fold them in the box, or can get fold lines. I don't love that either. Maybe some people don't mind as much. They flatten out well enough otherwise. But truly, I got them more for a test. And it's on my end, trying to pinch pennies, because this is an expensive job, honestly. And anything I do comes out of what little I have to work with to keep things afloat. And so I don't want to just throw it willy-nilly. So it took me a while to pull the trigger on these two, but from all the research I've done, it's been, probably almost 2 months of going back and forth on what exactly we're going to be doing for these mats, and those were before even talking about previous ideas that we had. I decided I need to test out both. I need to see how they both work, and maybe if we choose to go with one or the other, we could do a cool giveaway where someone would be able to get one of the mats that we didn't use, so you kind of have a cool production level mat, as well as a fun whatever. But so not wasted. It's a necessary evil. But so those will both be on the way. One should be here by, well, let's say earliest date is March 9th, which will be our next Oaken Hollow game test night. So fingers crossed we get that early end print run of the hard quadfold board before then. But both at least should be here by the end of March. And then we can get rolling. So that kind of keeps me on that the track of trying to get Skirmish out by midsummer. Good movie. With that, some other things I've been doing. I've been updating the rule book. Yes, we're still in paper. I might try to see if Dunwoody students want to do it. They did a wonderful job with the Oaken Hollow, or with All Hallows Eve rule book. In their layout and their design. So before I do too much detail work on this, I might give it to people who know what the heck they're doing, because I certainly don't. But just for those of you who have had the pleasure of going through a normal paper one, I have now added in rules for both the Barbarian and the Necromancer, and as well as some picture guides, because did a lot of back and forth talking, and we have decided that we are going to grayscale, or not grayscale, the fighters are going to be printed in gray. And then just the sides are going to be colors. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of back and forth. As much as I liked all of the colors on the boards, maybe I could do some special run prints where they're colored. There was weird things that were coming up that caused more issues, and then adding in 2 more fighters actually made them worse. I was trying to find a fancy word for it, but it certainly made the worse. So we've decided to go back to gray. I think they're varied enough. I did add shield to the knight, a belt for the duelist. I unpointed a lot of the things for both the jouster and the wizard. I think I talked briefly on that, so I won't belabor it too long. But everything should be visually different enough. I have yet to print those sets. Everything works fine without. I just don't want to waste the resin right now on printing it when all the other models work just fine. But maybe I'll run a few knights or something, just because they're the biggest change. Clerics now have sleeves. Little things. But we're in the home run. I have to draw some pictures for the Necromancer and the Barbarian for the rule book. I did dislike the safety update. Oh, Phil, I know you love the blood sacrifice anytime we get to play a game. I'm worried about the pieces becoming sentient and doing a Jumanji thing with too much blood involved. So that's kind of why we took that back. That's more of an All Hallows Eve theme thing. Maybe I'll make those ones more pointy. So rulebook is slowly coming in. We did get some, and it was last minute, some new pictures for examples, and I didn't lay them out. I didn't go in and give them borders yet. So for these, what I'm going to do is physically take and cut apart my rule book and see the ordering of everything. What needs what. I can then physically label it. I'm a very physical and, like, tactile learner. I learn by doing. So I needed to physically have something in my hand so I can go, this, like, see example A. Okay, which one's example A, or what have you, and just physically cut it out and stack it. I did it for All Hallows Eve. Worked fine. But all the different example pictures, I think they're better to see. Just use the models. Maybe I'll go in and have to, like, touch up some of, like, the modeling lines, but I don't really know if that's going to be hyper necessary. But I'll cut those out and get those in the order I see fit, and then do a rough draft, probably my final version of it before trying to see if I can send it off to Dunwoody, and then get them some higher resolution photos to work with. But I've got some chatting with them to do before I can commit to that bit. Let's see. So that's a lot of the skirmish updates. I try to give a little bit of ebb and flow on what I work with, a little meat, little potatoes, where I do think, just so I can reaccumulate some new ideas and get a fresh look at it, I may, after this push, be setting skirmish off to the side for just a little bit. Your final before we convince you to do one. But I'll probably be trying to test out some Graveyard Smash again soon. What needs to be done with that still? I have most of the art done for Zeds. I do need... This is probably running super long again. I always try to make these quick, but I have so much cool things to share with you guys. I need to start doing art for Geist, and what's been stopping me is just pulling the trigger on what he's going to look like, doing the art for it, because I think Geist is going to be a lot of fun to work on. I just need that. There's a few details here and there, and as we are play testing them, I'm going to need a play test night, and it's hard. It's hard to get more than 2 or 3 people in an evening, but I'd like to do a test where we get 6 people, myself included, where we could full run it with the old All Hallows Eve people. I'm going to switch in where we play Zed with Mischief, or we play Zed with Cog. We can do that with a lesser amount of people, but I want a big group of people to see that the sets merge and there's no weird interactions that we haven't thought about or seen. Geist does need some small verbiage detailing that needs to be done. And then just maybe a few more powers that lure things off of roads. That was something we noticed that wasn't thought about, where he has the ability to share a square. And I think when I get my model out to Jeff, my 3D model guy, I'm going to have it so maybe the ghost can envelop a trick-or-treater inside of it. So if it shares a spot with a trick-or-treater, there'll be like a slot to stick it in. It's a little iffy because trick-or-treaters come in different shapes and sizes, so I'd need a specific volume out of it for them to fit, and it might just not be feasible. But it'd be a neat feature if it could work. Maybe just even a slot that it slits in. Either way. But we need to test them with the old 4, I guess, with Krusty Ray, to make sure that... 6, so 7 players, because of Chaperone. To make sure everything plays well. And with that as well, I need to start looking at rules for 2 chaperones. I have some base stuff. It is not as easy as splitting it up, especially when it comes to turns. I'll get into that. That can be a completely different video. Yeah. If keep me to that. I will do a video on why so far 2 chaperones has not been rules for All Hallows Eve. And some of the stuff, because I need to pick your brains. Speaking of picking brains, I do have the skirmish top. So it'll be the sticker that goes on the top of the box, and then that'll also influence the sides. In the back, I've got a lot of work I need to do, and I can't do that till I have final products to take pictures of. But please, go to the post with 3 pictures and pick one. There's black and white, and really it's the dots, the speckles in the background. Black and white speckles look a lot like the skirmish box does here. The colored ones are the speckles, but they're all colored, and then both is where there's, well, both black and white and the colored ones. And I think, my gut is to go with 3. It just sets a nice tone. It gives a little bit more warmth to it. It's a little more appealing. But I don't know if we need the colors. So I'd love you guys to check that out and try and help me decide those things. That's what everyone's here for. I love having you guys as part of the design process. A lot of companies try and seal it off and only show you the end. I want to show you all the messy, ucky bits that go into this process, because that's endlessly fun to me, to try and tinker and find my way around, and then to get good responses out of and seeing what works and what doesn't, so we can come up together with a good final product for everybody. I want to make the games you want to play, and I want them to look nice for you. So with that said, one last, I won't do it very often. I did the one post. If you can share the group with 2 or 3 people, that is huge. It helps get more eyes on it. It helps more people with more opinions on things. It helps grow the community. We'd like to continue this train going. So yeah, if you could share this with the group, not maybe this video, but with 2 or 3 people, that would be amazing. So I think I have rambled on long enough. Some things I'll talk about that in the future will be, I'll do a video on why 2 chaperones haven't been working for All Hallows Eve and some of the things that go with that. And then, like I said, where we have that big play night, that will also probably be the time I'll talk about the world map that I've kind of teased a few times for everybody. And maybe people will be able to have some real estate on that map for when we do big play tests and world events, if you will. So, keep tuned. Sorry this went longer than I expected. It always does, but I just have so much stuff to share with everybody all the time, and it's fun being able to communicate with everybody. So thanks to you for who joined in and said hi. Thanks for you who came back and watched through the full video. Give it a like, whatever, just to make sure I know that people are liking these things and whatnot. I'll keep doing them. And I hope you have an excellent weekend and enjoy the rest of your day.